Yeah, there it is. There it is. It warmed up.
I call to order the August 11th meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. Members present are
Tony Teeters, Christy Hastings, Russ Buchanan, Michael Mirko, I always get that wrong, sorry Michael, Robert Buford, Mike King, and of course our chair, Gary Edelbrock. This is an open public hearing and is being videotaped and tape recorded by the city. The proceedings are being televised by representatives of the public media, local cable, and/or radio stations, and may be rebroadcast. The number of commissioners members are 7. It will be required for 4 votes for the majority. All parties wishing to be heard on an issue are required to raise their hand and be recognized by the chairman prior to speaking. Speakers will be expected to state their name and address for the record, so that we may know who is speaking and be able to contact them at a later date if necessary. Please turn off any and all cell phones and electronic devices if you haven't already done so, and please sign the attendance roster before leaving the meeting. First on the agenda, regular agenda, is the approval of the minutes of the July 14th, 2017 meeting.
Have you all had the opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody want to make any additions or corrections? It appears that there's no one who does. Can we have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of our last meeting, July 14th.
Second.
Okay, please signify by raising your right hand. It passes 7-0. Minutes approved.
Next agenda item is HP 17006, 1107 Hassayampa Lane, Historical Preservation District 15, Historic Homes at Hassayampa. Request approval for 4 and 6 foot high fencing. Kat Moody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to start out with, in your packet, you were provided with a little bit of history of these 14 homes at Historic Homes at Hassayampa. So I'm going to just review that in brief. There is an extensive narrative that's available both online for the viewers at home, and you all received that in a hard copy form. But this is the site of the old Hassayampa Country Club. And the homes here are off of Country Club Drive and Old Hassayampa Lane. And this is a sort of a bird's eye view in the aerial. The homes are aligned here along Old Hassayampa Lane. There are 14 residences that were part of the original development. The condos here are new condos that were constructed after 2001 when the old Country Club structures were demolished. But I have a couple of pictures. This is the old clubhouse building. This was demolished in 2001, and it was constructed of fieldstone. So this was part of the Country Club development after Harvey Corey purchased the Country Club in 1939. So it was originally developed as a golf club starting in 1919, and it did not have grass greens, but it had sand greens during the time between 1919 and 1939. And when Harvey Corey came into the area, primarily for the benefits of health benefits from asthma relief, he purchased this, and the town was fairly skeptical that he was actually going to make a go of the venture because it was having a rather difficult time due to the Depression and lack of funds. But he was a very successful businessman from Chicago and came in and purchased the club, and in very short order ended up developing both this, which is the clubhouse, and also housed the pro shop. And then he also constructed the pool house that you see here and the swimming pool. And this became a center for activity for children in the area. And then as a way to generate revenue, he slowly, really not that slowly, but between 1939, these structures, the pool house and the clubhouse, were constructed in 1939, and then by 1945, all 14 homes on the site were developed as part of his revenue-generating potential for this property. And the only requirement he had for the rental of those 14 homes was that people had children. And he never varied from that. So he was a big advocate of support of children, and that's part of why the pool house.
Now, Cap, this was a private club, right? In other words, it was not open to the public. It was just for their members.
There was a membership,
Exclusive, yeah.
but it was always very affordable. I think in the narrative, it speaks to, you need the doc cam. Yep. The fee was $24.50 a year for membership. So it was pretty affordable to become a member of the club. And then it closed in 1969, so it was a going venture under Harvey Corey for 20 years. And the relevant point here for the property we're looking at today is his daughter actually designed the home at 1107 Old Hacienda Lane. So this is the property we're reviewing today. And so when he died, his daughter took over the properties, but she is the one who actually designed this home. So the request today is for a fence that sits in the rear yard, which is actually probably what a lot of people might think is the front yard, but the front yard is off of Old Hacienda Lane. And this roadway here depicted is Country Club Drive. And I've got some photos that I can show you of the property. So this is a shot of Country Club Drive, and this is their driveway here. There is a 10-foot utility easement that runs along the front of this property. So you can note that here they are holding back the fence to stay out of that 10-foot utility easement. And they are proposing a 6-foot fence, and this is a gate across the driveway. And this is a steel fence, and I've got a graphic, but let's look at the site plan here. This is changing to a 4-foot split rail in the back, and then it's a 4-foot steel fence here. Yeah, I'll switch it. It's definitely on document cam. Yep. The fencing style proposed is a mission style fence, and this would be a rusted steel mission style fence. This is the gate design across the driveway, and then this is the regular fence panel, 8-foot wide by 6-foot high for the 6-foot section of fence. And I've got a couple more shots that show this would be the gate placement across the driveway. So this is the rear portion of the house. And then this is a view from the front of the property where the cedar split rail fence would go across here. And then they intend to landscape this front yard area. Split rail fence is used throughout the district, so that's fairly common. The mission style fence is a slight deviation from the fence designs in the area, but there is other steel fencing in the area. And so it's generally in keeping with the steel and split rail fencing found within the district. And I do not Yep, and I do have the property owner here, Frank Flanders, and so with that, I'll turn it over to you all, and then if you have questions for him or further questions for me, we can go there.
Mr. Flanders, would you come up to the front and identify yourself and include your address, please?
My name is Frank Flanders. I'm the owner of 1107 Old Hacienda Lane in Prescott.
Any of our,
Great.
any of our commission members have questions for the property owner?
Yeah, I would like to know how long you've had, owned that property?
I think right around New Year. I think we closed end of December. Trying to remember exactly. but-
Okay.
So, Mr. Flanders, the tall fence is going in the front, and the low fence is going in the back. Is that correct?
Not to my understanding. We just last week, or last month, I believe it was, the day before this
Previous
group
meeting.
review met, I got a call from Kat
Yeah.
Moody, and informing me that that was her understanding as well. So then I waited until the following Monday, and I can't remember the gentleman who called me back who confirmed.
That would be George Worley, our planning manager.
Okay. So he confirmed, at least in our phone call on that following Monday, that in this case, the front is facing the golf course from Old Hacienda Lane, and the back would be on, what is that?
So,
Country Club.
Country Club.
Country
Considering
Club.
the road frontage, the back.
Well, there is a road on the Old Hacienda Lane. If you look at this aerial,
That's your access road? That's
yeah,
Yes.
where the driveway goes?
And our address, and, yeah.
so Old Hacienda Lane is the access here to those properties. Down, it doesn't quite show.
No, you
very-
can't really see it.
It's
can you?
narrow, it's very narrow.
It's a one-way
The
narrow.
road that you see there is Country Club.
You can sort of see it right here. It goes along here.
Isn't that the driveway on Country Club Lane and not on Old Hacienda? I rode by it yesterday, and it looked to me that your driveway comes off of Country Club. And
We removed the blacktop and put on nice pavers as we enter the back.
this is Country Club.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
Country Club.
And then if you keep driving this way, you'll make a right on Old Hacienda Lane and go down the one-way lane to my front door.
And you can drive into a driveway off of Old Country Club?
Yeah, there's parking for three, you could fit two, easily three in the front.
Yeah, it's definitely tucked down in there, and it is a one-way street. And that serves all 14 houses, although some of them, like Mr. Flanders' property, have double frontage, so they can access from both roads. But the Old Hacienda Lane does serve all 14 residences.
Right, and that drives the varying heights, 4 feet in the front yard and 6 feet in the rear yard. It's fine. I have one question, that's maybe just a definition here. In places it says rusty metal or metal fence, and one other place says wrought iron fence, which I'm assuming it's, all of the fencing is this rusty metal.
Yeah.
And the wrought iron is just a,
Right. It'll be the same style.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it would all be this mission style.
And those triple or quadruple, triple verticals or?
It's on the top you're referring to?
No, the vertical
These.
lines coming up, those are
Oh,
like three
those-
little
so-
half-inch tubes together? or-
There will be wood staves that go between the rusted metal.
So these are rusted metal, this, and then the top rail and the bottom rail?
Right. And then there will be vertical rusted metal, kind of like if it was just a metal, fence, like the old-fashioned black wrought iron ones.
Yeah.
Only it will be the rusted metal. And then between will be wood staves, except for the lights at the top, which are kind of nod to the prairie style. Those will be open.
Oh, I see, so that's solid.
It's a
Solid
that's my
fence.
question. It's a solid fence.
With the exception of those lights at the top, and then in the middle, where you see that style, that will be open as well.
Okay. And is this metal or is this wood?
It'll be the same metal.
Okay.
And that will be, this panel is consistent with the entire fence, right?
Yes, and as well as the gate. There's another picture of the sliding gate that'll go
Right.
by the garage.
So the gate is, got 2 of those chevrons, chevron elements.
But just to be clear, there, part of this request includes a split rail wood fence, is that correct?
This
Okay.
is called out.
We're just
he-
talking about the one on the
Yeah,
country club
everywhere,
side.
with the area where this will go is generally where there's a lot more traffic,
Yeah.
an area in the back where we would like to be able to sit at a table, and that road isn't like, it's not a highway, but it is actually pretty well traveled
Yes,
with
it
people
is.
walking dogs, and
Yeah.
it would just be nice to have a little bit more privacy right
Privacy.
there. And then in the areas where there's, lots of plants and trees, we just would like to do the standard, pretty common split rail.
Split rail, yeah.
So does this require any kind of variance to have the 6-foot-tall solid fence on the road side?
I'm going to refer that question to George Worley here.
No, sir, it does not. We looked at the properties based on the addresses and the frontages of the buildings, the original layout of the building, so no variances are necessary.
Okay.
The only requirement there was that he stay outside that 10-foot utility easement along the road.
Yeah. And that's addressed.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Flanders, thank you. I've been there a couple times. It's a nice neighborhood. It's quaint. Welcome to the neighborhood, so to speak.
Thank you.
I understand, and the question regarding the panels was one that I had. Was it a see-through fence? No, it is not. It's a solid metal. You
Right.
can't look through it, so
With
I
the exception of
understand.
those openings, each panel does have openings that you could,
Well, the 3 on the top.
and
then
right
the-
there in the middle.
And
is-
then the
Okay.
chevron.
You could
Oh, okay.
actually walk up, if you wanted to poke your face up to it,
Okay,
you could see
and the
it.
chevrons in the tops, thank you. Now maybe somebody also knows that, so. Anyway, I have no issues with the design and the proposal that you presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Mr. Mirko?
I just have one other question. Your driveway and the gate is here at the bottom of the screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
The garage is on the opposite side.
right.
Is there a driveway that goes all the way over there?
Yes, you can see at the very top, it says sliding gate.
Oh.
From the bottom.
So there's a gate by the garage, and that just slides.
Oh, right there.
Yes, and then it used to be black pavement, and then we put in pavers, and so that goes behind the house all the way through.
So this is pavers now?
And then there's an easement for the 3 homes on the north side there. We all share that easement to get back up to
And you can
Country
kind
Club.
of see that right here.
So I didn't want to change that little drive loop. I wanted to maintain that, but I also wanted to kind of use it more as a patio and less as a parking lot driveway. I just think it improves the look of the whole place.
It was a cute neighborhood.
Well, I'm sure you can tell by the tone of the commissioners that we're going to approve this, I believe.
Thank you, that's
And
good
for the
news.
record, we've been joined by Councilman Shishka, our council liaison.
So we're good?
We need to vote.
We need a
Need a
motion.
motion and a second, and then we'll vote.
Okay, that's great.
Would someone care to make the motion? Mr. Michael?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we approve the design for the 4 and 6 foot fences, that we approve 108-07-169 for the number 15 historic home in Hacienda.
Mr. Mirko, would you like to
I would
second?
second that, yes.
So we have a motion to approve and a second. Would we all vote? Please raise your right
I
hand.
have a clarification, please.
Oh,
So our agenda item is HP 17006.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
We know what we're voting on.
Oh, okay, I was looking at the
No
APN.
problem. We'll just put in that number instead if
Yeah.
everybody's agreed.
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
would you like to amend your motion, please?
No, I don't want to. I think the clarification has been noted.
It's been noted. For the record, it is
For the
HP
record, you will now vote.
17006.
No
Please
apologies.
signify by raising your right hand if you wish to approve.
Aye.
Aye.
There are no negatives, so your motion is approved, and good luck with your
Thank you.
project, and I'm sure it'll turn out very nicely.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time and for the unanimous vote. I appreciate it. We hope to really improve the property and try to be good neighbors.
I'm sure you'll be a good custodian of the property.
Yeah, thank you.
Could I just make a tiny little personal comment that I've lived here for 40 years and I've never noticed your little, and I'm very interested in preservation. It's really hidden, and I was really interested in being able to get acquainted with your little neighborhood there. It's just amazing.
Oh, you weren't aware of that little neighborhood?
I was not aware of it.
Yeah, I'm just returning to Prescott after moving away to live in Seattle for 15 plus years, I guess. And when I came back, that was an area that I went to first. I went to Embry-Riddle here years ago. I used to bartend at the mining company, and that's when I first discovered that little enclave. So I've coveted it for so long. And when I saw that it came on the market, I was like, I think I need to try to make this happen. So
Wonderful.
yeah, really happy to be there. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
I think I did. I'm going to close.
Yeah, when I first moved here,
Next project on the agenda, HP 17007, 107 North Cortez Street, Courthouse Plaza. Request approval for rebuild of 14 awnings over windows. Cat Moody.
Okay, this is a request at the Masonic Temple building. And you can see this is a Google Street View image from, what's that say? November 2016. It looks substantially the same today. And these awnings that are in place are a pole frame awning, which was fairly common around downtown. And in the picture, you can see at the bank building next door, this is a steel frame awning, and this style of awning is what's being proposed on this building here. The steel frame awnings are much more substantial of an awning than the pole frame awnings. And the awning design, the drawn graphic looks like this, but probably the better view is to look at the awnings next door to be able to see exactly what they're proposing for these awnings. And the frame is, or the fabric being proposed, and this looks white and black on this. So I'm going to pass this around. This is gray and black for the audience at home. So this is a gray and black broad stripe. The fabric is what's being proposed. The fabric next door is also a broad stripe fabric. It's just in tones of brown. So the gray and black fabric's being proposed. As you can see in this picture, the brown broad stripe was selected for the bank building because it is a tan building. And the Masonic Temple is definitely a gray building. And so the awning contractor who is present felt that this would go better with the facade of the building than going with a brown broad stripe. And so all of these awnings, where they are now, would be replaced with a steel frame awning with this gray and black broad stripe fabric. And with that, I'll turn it over to you all for questions and discussion. And we do have Wolfgang Dietrich here, so if you have any questions for him, he's available.
Would you step forward, please, and identify yourself?
Good morning. My name is Wolfgang Dietrich, owner of A Shade Beyond, the awning company here in Prescott.
Your address, sir?
474 E.C. Street.
Thank you. Any questions of the,
Yeah, Wolfgang, essentially, we're going from previously retractable awnings that probably never held their shape, and going to fixed frame awnings that will hold their shape. And did they ever use the retractable the feature of that?
Yes, as you can see, they're retracted now, and during the summer they lower them. It's been always a maintenance issue. Some of the windows are really hard to open. Some of the mechanics on the awnings themselves are really old and outdated. We've been replacing the ropes multiple times over the years. It is just it's hard on the people that rent the space to do that on a regular basis as necessary. If you leave them out on a storm, you might find them partly coming off. So they need to be maintained.
So the retractable part of it won't be missed?
It will not be missed.
Okay.
I talked to everybody in the building, plus the owner. They said, yeah, we would very much prefer them being fixed. The main issue is the heat gain during the summer, and that will be constantly provided with a fixed frame.
Right.
The heat gain will be a lot less, and they will not have to be, of course they can't be, but these would have to be retracted when there's a storm coming or during the monsoons. That will not be necessary anymore. They are weatherproof in that sense. There will be welded steel frames and be solid attached to the building.
So the retractable feature was really just to preserve it during a storm, not necessarily because they didn't want the shade that they provided.
Right.
Well,
So-
in winter, too.
In winter, you get the
you
heat
would
gain
want
a
to
little bit.
retract.
Oh, a little more sun?
Yeah.
A little bit more sun.
And these are west-facing windows, so you are getting end of the day.
Right. Well, that's an absolutely horrible looking picture that's up there. And I think the new awnings would be a plus.
Now, those new awnings are no further out than the ones next door, right?
No, not at all. We maintain the exact size of the existing retractable ones.
The windows are recessed somewhat, aren't they?
The windows are recessed, yeah.
So they won't mount it.
Project, yeah.
anyone have any further questions? Can we have a motion, please?
I move
Mr.
that we
Teeters.
approve agenda item HP 17007 as written.
Robert?
Second.
Thank you, Christie. We'll take that as your second. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand.
Aye.
Aye.
There are no dissenters, so the motion passes 7-0. You are approved.
Thank you, Commission.
Next agenda item is HP 17009, 113 West Goodwin Street, Courthouse Plaza. Request approval for new signage for new home marketplace. Kat Moody?
What happened to 8? Something happened to 8?
It was taken off the agenda.
It will be next month, at the request of the applicant. They wanted to delay till next month. Let me see if I can get this so you can actually, the colors are not showing up really all that well on this overhead. You certainly have a better view of the colors on your hard copy on this item. This is a request as stated for signage for New Home Marketplace. This is a rebranding of the Realty executives that are currently in this space here. And there's an existing sign here which has Realty executives on the sign. And the rendering here is depicting just the sign as this is a photo mock-up. So this sign would be removed. The applicant just it's still got a shadow line because it's based off a current photo. But this sign's going to be removed, and then they're proposing to place individual cut letters that are constructed of PVC, and they have a beige enamel paint applied to the surface. And so the lettering here would be individually applied to the building, and New Home Marketplace would be over these double front doors that was previously for years Edelweiss was in this space. And so Realty Executives has taken over, has expanded from this space here into this space. And so they're taking this entire, both of these storefronts now. And so they're proposing to place New Home Marketplace here and then real estate over the door here. And that is totaling 50 square feet of signage, which is right at the maximum that this business is allotted. And with that, I will turn it over to you all. Oh, and I do have one other shot, and this is probably going to show up even worse, but I will throw it up there. Actually, you actually can see the brown of the building was recently repainted, so that new paint job is evident on the ground right now. They are proposing lights to softly wash down this curved section, the arched section of the wall. So that's the lighting for nighttime for this signage.
The light's going to drop off the roof line?
They are, and I spoke with the contractor about that and wanted to know if you would see those light fixtures, and he said they would be tucked right at the top of that parapet, and you would really not see them. And they would just provide a wash down the wall.
We know how many?
I do not, and the contractor is not here, so I cannot speak to that. I did expect him, but something must have happened, so. The Morgan sign is the sign contractor, so Stefan Markov is who I was expecting to come.
Well, I guess I would echo that. The lights could be a concern, but I know Stefan. I assume that they're going to, I don't know, maybe they're going to be LEDs or something.
They are, yeah, he had told me they would be LEDs that would provide the wash.
And that they're probably low key enough that if you were looking up at them, you're not going to get this blinding light. It's multiple LEDs would give a wash down there. I can envision what we're going to get, even though we're not seeing what we're going to get. So I guess with that, we could ask to see these fixtures. I guess that's the one.
That's an issue for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, classically, have some arching over with a
Like a
metal shade, and
gooseneck.
a bulb, and down there. But
And practically speaking, how common is sign lighting down on the courthouse? I don't go down there at night very often.
and down lighting too. Instead of there are some that are box lights that are lit from behind.
Or the
Behind.
halos.
Internally. I mean,
Yeah. And then, like at Frozen Franny's, we have gooseneck style fixtures.
yeah, that's true.
The goosenecks are fairly common, yeah, where they're mounted and they curve out and they
Back.
aim back at a sign. And so I did ask him about that because he said it will have light washing down. And I said, well, are we going to see fixtures here? And he said, no, you're not going to see any fixtures. It'll be just mounted right at the top of the parapet. But I don't know exactly if it's rope LED.
That would be guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was envisioning when I spoke with him, but they hadn't selected the exact lighting fixture, I don't think, the client.
So would we consider this maybe an incomplete presentation?
If you feel like the lighting is an issue, the commission can defer the item.
I have another question. There is an awning over those doors or a roof of some sort?
There's an awning over,
The entrance-
and I apologize for the lighting. This is a separate, it didn't really,
No,
I'm talking about the-
double doors.
yeah.
under New Home Marketplace.
Oh, yes, there is a horizontal.
Cantilevered,
So basically, you're not going to be able to get up underneath and look directly up at the
No.
lake
yeah.
because of that roof.
Unless you're standing in the street.
True.
So
That's a little
further
better.
out, you might be able to see up there. If the lighting fixtures are a serious concern, you could approve the signage and withhold approval of the lighting and make them come back to you with the lighting fixtures prior to installing those. That would let them move forward, they just wouldn't have nighttime lighting.
Mr. Chairman. The picture that was the one that you didn't think was too well, it did give an indication of the soft lighting and the new color.
Yeah, that's.
I'm going to, read the text here. The curved section will have lamps washed down, mounted at the top, should be mostly hidden from view. So that depiction right there is compatible with my thinking, plus the fact that there is an awning there, so you can't look up and look into the lights. So I have no issue with the lighting as proposed. To me, again, an LED light is soft. It's, you can't look right into the bulb, so to speak, because of the way it's the awning. So I have no issue with the lighting at all, as presented.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Can we have a motion, please? Michael?
All right, let's get this right. Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we approve modification HP 17-009, which approves for new signage at the New Home Marketplace, as presented.
Robert? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Still not good with the light.
Those opposed? Michael?
Oh.
It passes 6-1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good job. Next item on the agenda is the update of current events or other items of note.
I do not have any updates for you. Does anyone else on the commission have an update? Okay.
Kat, do you know the progress of the new windows or doors at the Hacienda?
I do not. I have not seen them actually working on those yet. I think that's still pending.
I drove by yesterday, and it appears that they have not been done.
Right, I agree with that. So I think that's still pending.
Anything further?
I have nothing further.
Then we shall adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling.